You've got people who love Trump and Trump can do no wrong.
Yeah.
There's a decent amount of them, but not if you took the...
And they're clowny too.
For sure.
They are in different ways,
right.
yeah.
But so here's the point. If you take Trump's diehard, Trump can do no wrong individuals, and you put them in a room next to the Trump derangement syndrome, it's 10-1. The Trump derangement syndrome grossly outnumber the Trump diehard, fanatics. Yeah. So I often ask this question, and especially on this show, how do we know that we're not in the wrong side of history or in the paranoid bubble? Well, I'll tell you this. The side of history is really dependent upon the winners, I guess. Yeah. So for all we know, the communists win, and then we're the bad guys. Maybe that's what happens. But I can tell you, man, there's a couple ways to determine that we are on the correct side of things, at least in our views. And the first one I mentioned the other day is I can say I condemn white supremacy and I condemn Antifa. I have zero problem saying extremists who engage in violence for whatever reason are bad. Yeah. I think we've got extremist white supremacists who engage in very dramatic and horrifying acts of terror. And we have terrorism coming from Antifa. It's all bad. There you go. These leftists can't say it at all. Yeah. They can't say Antifa bad. They can't do it. But I'll tell you what else. I can say this. Donald Trump led us to a really great economy. Donald Trump's also an arrogant, boastful, loudmouth, I can say Donald Trump's peace agreements are historical and amazing. And I can say Donald Trump saying we need retribution and that the feds went in and just killed the guy because they didn't want to arrest him. That's insane. The fact that I can easily be like, that's good, that's bad, shows that we are calm and rational and considering what's before us. Yeah. And the people with Trump anxiety disorder are not thinking clearly.
They're not.
But what about this? George Washington was a violent terrorist.
Well, I don't even think the British view him that way.
Yeah, he was literally deemed a terrorist by King George.
I've talked to my friends who are British, and they say they don't. It's like you got. What I was told is you got to understand, Tim, that is a blip in our history that didn't even last that long.
Well, because they didn't win.
But at the
George Washington's terrorist organization won.
Pretty great organization, I dare say.
Liberal terrorist organization.
Freedom
and individuality.
But, if you talk to, Carl from Benjamin.
Sorry.
And so I watch his stuff a lot, and I heard him talk about the United States as being the end result of what the English were trying to do. Mm-hmm. And
he's just trying to take credit for the cool stuff we did.
That's fair.
He might be.
English were they the first to ban slavery as the English?
I don't know if they were first, but
I
I know that they
before
did.
us.
Yeah, they did it before us. And I'm thinking more along the lines of the way that individuals are looked at as opposed to the way that the monarchy was looked at in England. The ideas that the ideas that were laid out in the Magna Carta and laid out that really kind of got their start in England.
Don't they still have a House of Lords where their political power is derived from their land ownership centuries ago? They've inherited.
I don't know enough about it to criticize a lot, but it does sound like a house of clown cards.
Right? Yeah. So no, I kid. I get it. I think a lot of these ideas made their way over here, and then something really interesting that happened, I guess, is distance from the crown.
Yeah.
People had no allegiance to something they didn't know about. I mean, you were born here.
Yeah.
And you grew up here. You're like, I don't know no king.
Yeah.
I don't know anything about that. Mm-hmm. And so people were like, stop telling me what to do.
Yeah.
Especially when you consider if you were in England or whatever, you're in London, it's a very dense populated area. Yeah. You grew up in the colonies or whatever, you're in wilderness. It's wilderness as far as I can see. You can do whatever you want. Yeah. You're walking through the woods, take a dump wherever, and you're shooting your musket and stuff, and you're yelling and singing. You go back to England to go to London, and you got rules. You can't do that. Same is true for here in the U.S. You live in New York, you can't play loud music. You go in the middle of nowhere, you can fire a gun, into the hillside or whatever.
I am familiar with that.
So you have a bunch of people. It's really fascinating because I was thinking about the urban versus rural debates that we have in the country. This is before the internet era, maybe the 2000s. And I was like, there really is an interesting thing here where you see the urban cities are very restrictive and the rural conservatives are much more about freedom and openness because they have more space to kind of be free. And it's similar in many ways to what made people want to leave these densely populated areas in Europe and then come to the new world and find something new.
Sanders was onto something when he was talking about the assault weapons ban, and he's like, "Look,
seriously,
we don't have that problem in Vermont because we're a rural
state,
and so it's not a thing." And you know, as much as I was never really a pro Bernie Sanders guy. I was definitely much more of a Ron Paul guy. But he definitely had, he had some points. Sanders has had some.
Yeah, but he sold out.
Well, yes, he did. I mean, look, when he laid down and kissed the ring, which he should have never done. And I've again, talking to some of my more left-leaning friends, that I'll be like, look, Sanders was made a clown by Hillary Clinton and having to give up the mic to those protesters on his own stage, and it was just like he's a wuss. He's not gonna.
He can't be president.
I'm trying to be. I'm trying.
You're
to
doing it.
I'm doing it. And then people will be, well, they make the excuses, and I'm just like, Ron Paul never sold out. What?
What's up?
And people are like, oh, I know you're blah blah blah, Ron Paul and da da da. But it's true. Like,
but
Ron Paul caught so much crap from everybody all the time. Dr. No, constantly the
Dr.
only
No.
guy, or one of him and one other guy, him and Kucinich voted no on something that everybody else voted on.
Yeah.
That's why I liked Kucinich back in the day.
Yeah.
And and the other thing Ron Paul did is he self-replicated a younger version of himself.
He did.
Who
Now
is
votes
also
no and everything.
Rand is awesome.
I'm a big fan of Rand Paul as well.
There's
who's the no vote?
There's very few politicians I will outright be like, I really like that politician.
Yeah.
And it's basically just Rand Paul. Because there's other politicians I can say that I like they've done this, I like they've done that. Like Ro Khanna, for instance, is a Democrat who called out Pelosi because she won't sign the stimulus deal. And I think he's absolutely right.
Yeah.
I think at this point, the Senate is Republican. The presidency is Republican. If you want to get this signed and done, you don't have the leverage to sit there and scream. You just get the people the checks they need.
Yeah.
And even he recognized that.
Yeah.
But Pelosi is like, no, I won't give Trump the orange man. He can't win.
Yeah.
It boggles the mind. It's unfortunate that she has the cover that she has, because most people don't pay very close attention. I don't feel like they do, and I feel like that's what she's relying on. Because if the average person knew that the Democrats were holding up a stimulus bill, that they were the reason that we couldn't get something passed to provide relief for the American people, I think that it would have a significant effect on their attitude.
CNN called her out.
Did they really?
Wolf Blitzer
Good.
said your colleagues want you to agree to this.
Good for them.
And she goes, well, we represent these people, and like they were both trying to get the last word. It was
Oh yes, okay. I heard.
that?
Yes, I did hear that. All right, I heard. I didn't know exactly what the context was,
Yeah.
but I heard the exchange. So
And the crazy thing to me is, you normally got these lefties who defend the media and they're like, Trump is wrong for insulting the media. Now I'm seeing all of these progressives I know, CNN is trash. They don't understand. It's Trump's fault. And I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, fake news, huh? That's what they were saying about the New York Post too.
they've spent CNN has spent 3.5 or 4 years trying to do everything they can to discredit Donald Trump. Like 4 years of what program is coming up. It's the Orange Man Bad Show with Brian Seltzer, followed by the Orange Man Bad Show with Chris Cuomo, followed by Fareed Zakaria and why the Orange Man is really bad and fat and unhealthy.
Oh, yeah.
So here's the thing too. It's like maybe there is a bias on my part. I just praised Ro Khanna because he also voted in line with Trump to withdraw our troops from Afghanistan.
Yeah, get out.
And I'm like, this guy sounds pretty good. He's also voted on some things I think are kind of bad. And I'm like, so I don't agree with this guy across the board. But hey, man, if you're anti-interventionist, you want to get our troops back, and you're willing to compromise, and I will give you praise and respect.
Yep.
You turn on CNN. No, there's not a kind word for Trump at any point.
No. And
they do this. They do this faux recognizing Trump that's not real. Like, well, we understand the president, but.
Yeah.
But
the thing is, like you mentioned earlier, like Rand Paul, and I agree totally. Rand Paul, I'm a big fan. You can look at Rand Paul and see the way that people like Tony Poznanski, he's a Twitter guy. He's a hollerback guy.
Hollerback.
Yeah, he's one of those.
Guy.
He's one of those hollerback girls on the internet. And he just hates on Rand Paul. And it's like, look, I get that you don't like some of the policies, but really what you're hating on is this narrative that's been built about Rand Paul. Because Rand Paul is the guy that came up with the Justice for Breonna Taylor bill.
No one knows that.
And exactly.
Nobody
Just
knew,
No one
yeah.
is aware.
They were yelling at him in the street.
Say
He's
her
like,
name.
I drafted the
Yeah,
bill.
I said her name, bro.
It's like people don't know what policies he would be for or against.
No
They don't
idea.
know anything about his philosophy of,
Yep.
of how he thinks that the government should be organized and what the role of the Senate and Congress is and blah, blah, blah. They just go and they say, oh, Rand Paul, he's that guy that Tony Poznansky, the guy that sells baseball cards on Twitter, doesn't like. Like, that. It's again, I mean, my shirt says everything is stupid and nothing matters, and it's really true. It really, there's
in
so
like kind of
much-
faux Cyrillic.
I love
Yeah,
it.
exactly.
Hold on. Yeah, there we go.
And that's I mean, that's kind of a catchphrase that I've kind of adopted, because there's just so much stupidity where people just don't know why they're upset or why they're angry, why they don't like this person or that person or whatever, you know.
I don't want to name any of these lefty channels. So
do
just so you guys know, because I don't want to promote them or even drag them. I don't want people going. But it's like when there are people who try to make videos criticizing me, and it's clear they've never actually watched any of my videos.
Yeah.
That's the problem. It's you have people who have found a way to monetize tribalist rage.
Yeah.
And then they say things that aren't true or don't make sense, but it doesn't matter. As long as it satiates that tribalist lust
Yep.
for attacking the other. So you'll get a lot of these channels on YouTube, both left and right, that are like, this YouTuber's dumb. No, that YouTuber's dumb. And I'm like, I wonder if you guys actually watch each other's content. And they don't. They probably don't. You know.
Maybe clips that are sent to them from
And the
fans
clips
or
are going to be out
whatever.
of context. And it's you could. That's why I'm very careful when I was quoting Prince Harry when he made.
Yeah, I heard that. Yeah,
Yeah,
this
it's
is what
great.
Prince Harry
Right,
said.
exactly.
Prince Harry said
He
that
thinks this.
He
Yes.
thinks, according to Prince Harry, that this world, Prince Harry says, was made, according to Prince Harry. You got to do it that way because they're going to cut it and they're going to be like, look what people said. There was one where I was paraphrasing
that's
white
some
national.
racist stuff that he said.
I
though.
know.
It really
It's
was,
super.
yeah.
Okay, we got to say it now so people
Yeah.
understand the context. But Prince Harry
Said
said that this world was created by,
Prince
this
Harry
is according
says,
to Prince Harry, white people. And then he went on to say it was created by them for, according to Prince Harry, white people.
Can you believe
yeah.
The
that?
full quote.
That's amazing.
Without the 4 Prince Harrys in between. But I do that because you know they're going to try and pull it
Yeah.
and they don't care.
Yeah.
We should also point out he's not a prince anymore. Someone, I think I received some comments. He's not a prince anymore, guys.
Yeah, he
Which
lost
is
his title.
true. So now he's
Yeah.
just Harry.
Good.
Whatever
He's
his
just,
last
he's
name.
just a guy.
He's just Harry.
Well, then what do I care what
Sorry.
some guy thinks?
No,
Yeah, seriously.
exactly.
He's just a guy.
He's just a guy that's holding Megan's purse.
Oh gosh, at
Oh,
this
what a
point.
loser.
Yeah, seriously.
That's
Oh,
kind of the deal, man.
cringe, man.
He wants to
She's
be
just
normal.
she's like, Harry, if you want to get any tonight, you better get up there and you better say these things, you know?
Dude, she made him get rid of his guns. The man was a hunter and he was
Tell
a
you what.
soldier, and his wife made him
That's
get rid of his guns. It is the
I,
saddest
Crazy.
story, man.
I was in a relationship with someone that I really, really, really cared about, and I wasn't about to move somewhere where I wouldn't have.
No way,
so,
man.
I was like, no,
That's not a healthy relationship. Man.
No.
It's not.
You can't
That's
do
sad.
that
No.
because she clearly doesn't respect him at all.
Yeah.
Thanks for checking out this clip from the Timcast IRL podcast. We do the show live Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. So come back to check us out when we go live. Don't forget to subscribe, hit the like button, hit the notification bell, and we are also available on all podcast platforms for free if you want to listen to us there. Thanks for hanging out, and we will see you all next time.